Zambia's main opposition party, the United Party for National Development, has said its leader, Hakainde Hichilema, has been blocked from entering some parts of the country ahead of the August 12th general election. This comes as security forces were deployed by President Edgar Lungu to quell clashes between supporters of the governing Patriotic Front and the opposition party. The clashes resulted in the loss of at least 2 lives. Here to talk to us more, let me introduce to you to Africa analyst, Professor Mammo Muchie, joining us tonight. Prof, good evening. Good to have you once again with us here on In Focus. How do you analyze the violence in Zambia ahead of the August 12th elections and the president there bringing in the military?
Yes, I think the history of Zambia is important, the background. I think after 1991, when they moved from one Zambia, one nation of Kenneth Kaunda to multi-party election, and then you have different political parties, yes, and all running, then I think what we had was not, 6 elections have been done, and there were challenges in the election process, and the challenges were also affected by the way the economy was functioning. There were crises. Remember, there's the copper and the price went down, and a lot of people are still very poor, and those who live in the rural areas, all this. So what you have is a very complicated situation. When you run elections, when you have all these inequalities among the people, and you have challenges like that, can you really run a proper election? Really that will be very much legitimate and accepted. And I think we have a challenge. And what we have now is that the current leader, he wants to continue. He already has 2 terms. Now he wants to continue for the 3rd term. Is it necessary that he continues for the 3rd term? I mean, I think this is also, there should be some rule which says at least one or 2 terms. After 2 terms, then other people should come, and not that same person should run. And then the opposition leader also, the UNDP, UPND, I think, United Party for National Development, that's what they call it. The other one is the Patriotic Front Party. There are many other parties. I think the problem we have also is that they say he's the richest man in Zambia. So when you are very wealthy and you have the economic power, then you want to add the political power. That's also a challenge. Yeah. So from my understanding, to be honest with you, to be fair, I wish both of them, both Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar Lungu, both of them withdraw, and they nominate new people who are completely not involved in this conflict situation to represent the parties and run. I think that would be the best thing, because Lungu is a 3rd term. Why is he running for the 3rd time? Yeah. And the other one also has been in a very difficult situation. They have been competing before. Remember, they did compete, and they rerun also the election because the percentage they got were not right. So why are they continuing to do that? Why hurt the people in Zambia, and also make problems for us in Africa that we can't run elections?
Let's talk then about the blocking of the opposition leader. I mean, are these warning signs to say that these elections will not be free and fair and would not make for a conducive environment for contestation?
No, you are right. I think we cannot say the election will be free and fair because there could be a number of things. When you have conflict, there could be election rigging, there could be ballot box stuffing, electoral bribery, all right? And violence against, as you mentioned now, is starting against the political opposition. And even the media like you, they may want to emasculate the independent media to tell the actual truth. Yeah. Serious measures like that can be done, and it's easy to do it also because if you have a majority of your people are poor and they are really starving and they need attention, if you have a rich politician and you can give some little money here and there, many strange things can happen. Trust me. So I think that's why I think the entire, if I had a way to advise them, I would advise them not to do it this way. Not at all. Yeah. This is not right. It's better to do it. Remember the time when Kaunda was running it from 1964 to 1991. At least we had some interesting changes that we saw in the country. It was one party rule, and some changes have taken place. After that, although the democracy is there, what we had is the economy went down. Many of all the minerals, the uranium, the tin, the copper, everything. With all this, the country now has how much debt? Over something like 15 billion euro debt. Yeah. It's very complicated, in a very complicated situation, and the poverty is very high. The percentage of the people that are poor is very, very high.
And what have we seen in the past 5 years in as far as the political space is concerned?
I think the political space has not improved. In fact, it went more difficult because what happened was, remember the election, when the election happened, when this Lungi came, the other one who also ran, he did not really, this Hakainde Hichilema, he didn't feel that it was properly done. So there was also accusations, right? That's not fair election type thing. So what he had was a situation where all along they have not really been trying to use what they should have been using is elders, okay, mediation, to meditate or something like that, to create a system where they can agree, even if they disagree, how to run it well. What matters is creating a system, governance, institution, quality leadership that the people accept, and then you really value how the people vote and understand and what their vote means. That is not what has come back. As you can see, there's still conflict. They are saying, I should be the leader, and he can't be the leader. If that happens, what should I use? I use all kinds of tricks to make sure that the fighting continues. And now, as you rightly put it, there's this opposition leader has been, they did many things to him now, and we don't know what is going to happen to now. So maybe what I advise strongly the elders, even the African Union and others, even the regional areas now, COMESA is of course, many things like that you have in the SADC area and all this. What would be very, very good is to say any election that's done, it must be done properly. Otherwise, it should not be done. It should be postponed until a proper election management can be achieved. Otherwise, it's not good to run it and then create more conflict. Even after the election, there'll be more conflict too. Yeah. Things like that shouldn't happen. That's my suggestion.
Amnesty International has been calling for Zambian authorities to commit to respecting, protecting, and promoting human rights before, during, and after the August 12th elections. Do you think the government will heed that call?
In terms of talking, in terms of expression, they will always say they will be doing it. But in terms of reality, on the ground, it is not going to be happening if the conflict continues. If the conflict continues, will they be able to manage what they say and what the Amnesty International and all others says to protect the human rights of all the people of Zambia? I think it's very, very complicated. To be honest with you, I think I'm pretty sure the government will always say, in terms of talking, in terms of expressing, they will do it. But in terms of the reality on the ground, I don't believe that they will be able to handle it and manage it very properly, because the conflict, unless the election is done in such a way that the opposition that was defeated also accepts that the winner has got the right votes, the right number, and it's legitimate. Unless something like that happens, conflict will continue, human rights violations will continue, even if the ruling one, the one that says that is able to, is elected, admits that they want to protect the human rights. They may not be able to do it for on the ground, in the various parts of the country. You have about 73 ethnic groups, and you have different regions, different wards, many areas in the constituencies. So the variety of the area also exists, and then different groups, as you notice, in different areas. In some areas, the opposition, the winner may gain some more votes in some areas, but may not get in all the areas. The opposition also, the party also gets some areas. So when this happens, the conflict, unless there is a very good system, rule of law, legal arrangement to protect all the people from human rights violation, the conflict cannot be stopped. That's I think it's important to do it very systematically and properly. I think that's my suggestion.
The role then of the international community, for example, Zambia continues to be a major recipient of U.S. foreign assistance, totaling close to $500 million annually. I mean, what does this say about America's ability to influence the process into a peaceful one?
Yes, America says that they like to support democratic arrangements, but the problem is, it's not. I'm not sure how much their influence. All right, I mean, they may give aid, and they may influence the government, but will they influence those that are opposing the government? You see, because the aid is given to the government, so and the government is the one that uses the aid in whatever way it wants, whether it gives it to certain sections of the people, whether it does it in the education sphere, on the health sphere, or whatever, or in the agriculture. So what it means is that the influence the America may have will be to the government that gives aid. It may say, if you don't do this, we'll not give you aid, or by threats or something. They may try to influence, but that doesn't mean that they will influence the people, the Zambia as a whole, and all the opposition parties. That's my impression. Also, there's also competition between America and China. China, when China gives aid, it doesn't give aid to the government. It gives aid to infrastructure, to roads. It constructs things. That's what the Chinese do. Mainly, they like to show visibly what they have done. And so their aid system is different from the aid system of America. So, but also they don't get too much involved in the politics. They'll just the internal divisions and everything the Chinese don't get to. In many African countries, they don't do it like that. So what is interesting now, as you rightly say, the influence of the Western world or America and all those that give aid may not be as impactful and effective as we expect. I think the most important thing should be really for all of us not to rely on the external actors like the Western countries and so on, is to rely mainly on we as in Africa. We should by now be having a system where all and the African Union should have been very active, and all the regional arrangements. We have all these organizations. We should be able to really motivate all the politicians to make sure that they really create legitimate, free, fair, and people-centered, people-well-being anchored political development. That is what we're missing. That now continues to be a challenge. The leadership is still very poor. We need to sanitize governance, really, genuinely, and make effective institutions and create very, very strong systems that actually make sure the system also values our own culture, our own tradition, our own, system, all the things, the Ubuntu, everything we have, great values we have. If we practice it, we'll not kill each other. You see, you are me, I'm you. Yeah. We have very great values. So we shouldn't be doing this competition, copying all this stuff from the colonial time and creating more problems. Why is that? Zambia was better from 1964 to 1991 with all its problems it faces. And then what did Kaunda and others do? They supported the African National Congress, SWAPO, many things, all the resistances, remember? Many things they did, and very active, they were active. And then when these elections come, or this diverse multi-party elections come, we have conflict between the parties. They are fighting each other. So why do we do that? Why we copy this thing from outside? Right. It should be based on contextualized in our own reality, in our own value, in our own tradition, in our own culture. If we do something like that, I think we make a difference. Prof? I hope all of you will join together and make this crisis we face now in Zambia, let's create an opportunity to solve the problem by creating a new paradigm shift, a new mindset change to make sure that we value our values and make sure that no killing and none of this conflict should continue because of this election.
Prof, I appreciate your time. Let's leave it there for tonight. Professor Mammo Muchie, who is an African analyst, there with us.